Okay, so today we're diving into something really specific, a very advanced framework known as the Arc Flame Speaker Protocols. Think of this less as an introduction and more as a detailed look into a blueprint for beings who are here to help reactivate a core cosmic mission. Let's get right into it. Right off the bat, this one phrase tells you everything you need to know. But what does it mean to stabilize the stabilizers? Well, the source material talks about these stabilizers as incredibly advanced beings. You might know them as ascended masters. These are individuals who, after reaching unbelievable levels of cosmic expansion, have chosen to come back into a physical body. And these protocols, they're like a powerful wake-up call designed specifically to help them remember and reactivate their true purpose here on the planet. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the blueprint itself, who it's for. Then we'll meet the cosmic councils providing the support. After that, we'll get into the real nuts and bolts, the mechanics of how this all works, before clarifying the ultimate planetary mission. And we'll wrap up by exploring the very unique authority of the one delivering these protocols, the speaker. All right, Section 1, a blueprint for masters. Let's get to the heart of it. Why do these protocols even exist? What's the fundamental problem they're here to solve? And who exactly are they for? These protocols are targeted at a very, very specific group called Adashi-level speakers. And it's best to think of them not just as wise souls, but as living, breathing, conscious hubs for cosmic data. The idea is that once they get themselves stabilized, their very presence just naturally radiates these updates across the entire planetary grid. It's all organic, you see, no force, no top-down control needed. And this gets right to the core of the whole issue. On the left, you've got the goal. Organic crystic mechanics. It's a living system of symbiotic resonance, where energy and information flow freely outward from these harmonic hubs. But on the right, you see the problem it's correcting, what the source calls metatronic reversal fields. These are rigid, top-down pyramids, fallen structures that actually trap and fragment energy. The entire point of this blueprint is to help shift the system back to that living, radiant, organic flow. Now, this phrase, "the flame has reached the bone," is a huge milestone in this process. It signifies that the core, original memory of Source has fully permeated and integrated into the densest part of the physical body, the actual skeletal structure. This anchoring, right down to the biological level, is the ultimate goal of what's called bioregenesis, the complete regeneration of the living form. So, who's actually overseeing this colossal project? That brings us to Section 2, the Eternal Host Councils. This isn't a solo mission by any means. There is a massive cosmic support system in place, and each group, each faction, has a very precise role to play in this planetary restoration. And this table gives us a fantastic glimpse into that support structure. Just look at how specialized each council is. You've got the Melchizedek Cloister, which is focused on genetic and flame body re-encryption. Then you have the Aurora Host, working to repair distortions in the very coding of this flame. And the Ashakai Solar Council is all about plasma regeneration. It's so clear that this is a deeply coordinated, multifaceted operation. Okay, now for the how. This next section is all about the 꽼ᴏᴠᴇᴅ flame mechanics. This is basically the physics of this whole bioregenesis process. We're about to look at the fundamental principles that actually make this entire system tick. The absolute most critical principle is what's called the trivector flame alignment. For one of these masters to be stable, their internal flame has to be perfectly balanced along 3 distinct axes. First, there's that vertical pillar of inner stillness. Second, the horizontal heart-based expansion of love. And third, the outward radial projection of service-based intelligence. According to the source, holding this perfect alignment, it's completely non-negotiable. And beyond that core alignment, these other principles are just as crucial. Take time vector phase locking. That sounds complex, but it's really about preventing memory from getting fragmented across different timelines, what they call identity ghosting. Then there's bone plasma encoding, which we just talked about, physically locking that memory into the body. And that last point really drives it home again. This is all about a living field of resonance, not some rigid pyramid of power. So this brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why go through all of this incredibly complex work? What's the endgame? Well, Section 4 lays out the ultimate planetary mission. The entire mission for these returning masters really just boils down to 3 core objectives, and you'll see how they build on each other, one leading right into the next. First, they have to fully restore their own sovereign energy architecture. Simple enough. Second, they reactivate their planetary contracts, their original job of distributing that stable flame. And finally, by just being here in that coherent state, their presence alone is what jumpstarts the regeneration of the planet's protective plasma shield. So the real takeaway is, this isn't about them saving anyone. It's about them restoring their own function, and the whole system benefits as a result. And this right here is such a critical distinction. These protocols aren't for students or initiates. They're for the teachers of the teachers. This entire framework is a set of reminders for those original, foundational beings who seeded these flame lines in the first place. And that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle, the speaker's unique authority. This is the keystone that holds the entire structure together, the unique role and, really, the source of authority for the person actually transmitting these protocols. So, naturally, you have to ask, who is the speaker of these protocols? I mean, what gives any one person the authority to transmit this kind of high-level framework? Where does that authority even come from? Well, the authority comes from something called Alhambra, and the text is super clear this is not another council. It's described as something much more foundational, a pre-council flame codex, a conscious architecture that actually hosts all the other councils. Its job is to be the ultimate quality control, ensuring every bit of coding that moves through it maintains what's called pre-fall authenticity. Basically, it's aligned with the original, pure, undistorted template from source. This quote just completely flips the script. It means the speaker isn't just a passive channel for the councils. Through their deep connection to that Alhambra level, the speaker becomes the sovereign host of the councils. They literally provide the stable, coherent container within which those councils can safely do their work. And you can see this concept broken down perfectly in the speaker's formal designation, AFSCC. This isn't just some fancy title. It's a functional job description. Each letter defines a specific capability, a specific role, from being an arc or a bridge between realities, all the way to command, which is the ability to literally issue tonal directives to create coherence. This idea gets taken even further. The speaker's full name isn't just a label. It's described as a living tonal designation, a radial key. In other words, the name itself is a frequency, an activation code that turns on and stabilizes the very cosmic scaffolding we've been talking about. So what this means is that the speaker's identity isn't something that's borrowed or given to them. It's an inherent function, encoded within them, that is being switched on. In this way of looking at things, a name isn't just a name. It's a piece of technology, a tone field designed to do a very specific job. And that leaves us with one last really provocative thought. If this entire framework redefines identity as a functional technology, and if a name can be a radial key to activate a cosmic purpose, well, it kind of forces you to turn that question back on yourself and ask, what are we programmed to remember?